the courtyard, but we had to move it in here, and there's only about 120. So let's squeeze in the best we can. So good afternoon. My name is Larry Culbertson. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 50th anniversary celebration of the San Clemente Historical Society. My name is Larry Culbertson. I've been president of the Historical Society for about the past 10 years. It's been a pleasure. I'd like to begin with some recognitions. First and foremost is our matriarch, Lois Dival. Lois? Lois is a founding member of the Society. We would not be here today without the tireless work of Lois and her late son, Fred. Our patriarch, Rick Dival. Rick is also a tireless supporter of not only the San Clemente Historical Society, but so many other groups in town. Our current board of directors, please just raise your hands, and let's hold off on the clapping till I've got a bunch of people to mention, so please just hold off on that. When I call out your name, please raise your hand. Katie Potts. Katie is our vice president, and she's the one who put this event together today. Marilyn Wigglesworth, our treasurer for the past 10 years. Susie Klickstein, our scholarship chair. Carolyn Kipper, our membership chair, and she's the designer of the beautiful program in front of you. Tom Marshall, our events chair, oral history compiler, and the newspaper column writer, right there. All right. Jim Hamilton, our walking tour guide. Jim wasn't able to make it here today. Such a great group that we've got, this board of directors. They do many more things than what I just mentioned. So could all former board members who've been on the board of the Historical Society in the past, please raise your hand. The Van Slikes, Mike, got to be some more out there. Thanks all of you. Again, we wouldn't be here today without the hard work of those board members over the decades. So a big thank you to the crew who organized this event. In addition to all the board members, Lori Gooch organized the time capsule. Lori's in the back there somewhere. And everybody be sure and visit the time capsule. Lisa Spinelli did photos and graphics. Lisa, where are you? All right. Diana Hardiman, our social media guru, handled communications. Marianne Comas, who stepped down from the board after 15 years on the board, just stepped down last year. She was also a big help. Thank you, ladies. Thank you also to the volunteers who are helping out today. Mayor Chris Duncan. Mayor, where are you? There you go. Thank you for that. Did we find a seat for you? We better find a seat for you, or I'm in trouble. All right. Very good. Mayor Pro Tem Steve Knobloch. All right. The planning commissioners, I don't know if they were able to make it. Scott McCann, Cameron, any planning commissioners? Okay. City planner, Jonathan Lightfoot. Did Jonathan make it today? No?
The council member came in.
Gene James, welcome. We'll try to find a seat for you. Maybe. We'll try to find a seat for you. So thank you also to the City of San Clemente for allowing us to have this event here today. Thank you also to the Casa Romantica for helping us out with this event. Ruth Denault, president of the board and longtime Historical Society supporter, is also with us today. Ruth, thank you. So today's celebration is an important occasion that marks half a century of preserving, promoting, and sharing the rich history of San Clemente. We are gathered here today to celebrate the remarkable achievements of our society and its members over the past 50 years. Our society has played a vital role in documenting and preserving our history, and in doing so, it has helped us to better understand our past, present, and future. Throughout the years, we have been fortunate to have a dedicated and passionate individuals who have worked tirelessly to ensure that our society remains relevant and engaged with our community. This hard work has helped to establish the society as a respected and valued institution. We are indeed standing on the shoulders of giants, Blythe Welton, Charlie Ashbaugh, Miriam Moon, Dorothy Fuller, Lisa Spinelli, Dina and Lee Van Slyke, Wayne Eggleston, Pat Bowman, Mike Cotter, Rod Gantos, Michael Kalk, Marianne Comas, Georgette Corson. It would take hours to describe all of the hard work that these individuals and many others have done for preservation in San Clemente. There are many more people to thank for keeping us going this past 50 years. I apologize for not mentioning everyone, but please know that we appreciate each and every one of you. So I promised Katie that I would not get political, but it's important to mention that the founding of the San Clemente Historical Society was political. Many of us know the story. It was in the late 1960s and early 1970s, San Clemente was losing Ole Hanson-era buildings at an alarming rate. Lois Dival, Blythe Welton, and Marianne Moon, and many others began lobbying for preservation. The final straw came in 1972 when the Bartow Mansion in the Pier Bowl was raised without approval to make way for condominiums. They were trying to beat the clock before the implementation of the California Coastal Act. Shortly thereafter, on March 18, 1973, the Historical Society was founded. Since our founding, we've been involved in numerous successful preservation efforts. No historic resource has been lost in the past 50 years. Yes. But the threats continue. So we remain vigilant, and we still need your help. Since our founding, we've been involved, over the years, we've also had numerous events, exhibitions, and educational programs, and we have built an extensive collection of artifacts and our archival material. That collection will soon be housed in our permanent archives next to the library, between the library and the community center. Yes, we're looking forward to that. We'll have a big party for that too. So we continue to produce our monthly newsletter, and we maintain our website with a wealth of historical resources. Our living history video interviews, thank you, Tom, have chronicled stories of San Clemente personalities over the decades. Our monthly community booth takes history to the people. Our Landmarks on Del Mar tile mural project displays our Spanish village tradition for locals and visitors. Our Fish Carts to Fiesta history book has been provided cost-free to San Clemente third graders since 1974. Our recreation of the weather vane at the Ole Hanson Beach Club provided the finishing touch for that wonderful rehabilitation that was done 6 years ago. These achievements and many others have been made possible by the support of our members, volunteers, and donors, and we're grateful for their contributions of time and energy. As we celebrate this significant milestone, we must also look to the future. We must continue to build on our success and strive to ensure that our society remains relevant and accessible to all members of our community. On behalf of the Society, I extend a warm welcome to all of our guests, and I thank you for your continued support. I hope that you all will enjoy this celebration and that it will serve as a reminder of the importance of preserving and promoting our shared history. So today, we have a very special guest. This is a man who needs no introduction, former mayor of Seattle, the one, the only, Ole Hanson. Come on, Ole.
Thank you for your service, Larry.
You gotta look close.
Hello? December 6th of 1925, it was raining. And I invited the city of Los Angeles and the city of San Diego to come to San Clemente, to sit under a tent, and I promised them a chicken dinner. I didn't tell them that I was going to talk about my vision of San Clemente. Some of them just came for the chicken dinner, but they had to listen to what I had to say about what I thought San Clemente was going to become. And I told them that I envisioned a place where people could live together more pleasantly than any place in America. I was going to build a beautiful city on the ocean where the whole city would be a park. The architecture would be of one type, and homes would be located on sites where nearly everyone will have their view preserved forever. The whole vision was very clear to me. I could see hundreds of white wall homes bonneted with red tiles, with trees, shrubs, hibiscus, palms, and geraniums lining the drives, and a profusion of flowers illuminating the patios and gardens. I could see sidewalks of red Spanish tile and streets curving picturesquely over the land. I wanted parks. I wanted playgrounds. I wanted swimming pools, a golf course. I wanted a fishing pool, a community center. I wanted a beach enlivened with people getting a healthy joy out of life.
Yeah.
I wanted people to have more than just a piece of land. I wanted them to have a special location, an environment, a full development. And I felt that due to my past success in real estate, I could assure them prosperity here in my Spanish village by the sea. Yeah. I also felt that if I gave people the chance to live intellectually and artistically, that I could influence future builders in this town. I did not want people to be repulsed and sent away by ugliness in San Clemente as they had by ugliness in other cities. This would be a place where a person could breathe. I was given a clean canvas, and I was determined to paint a clean picture. Think of San Clemente as a painting 5 miles long and over 1/2 mile wide. That's what I told them. I did not tell them what I'm going to tell you about San Clemente. San Clemente has a history all of its own, and it goes back even further than San Clemente. Many of you may know this, but originally this land was owned by, when Spain owned California, this was owned by Mission San Juan Capistrano. Yeah. Up until the time that Mexico gained its independence. Within a few years after that, all the land that belonged to the mission was taken away and given to prominent citizens. In this area, it was given to a man called Pio Pico, who became the last Mexican governor of California. He had just a small amount. He had all of Mission Viejo. He had all of the land south of here to the church, San Luis Rey, and he had several 100,000 acres of land. This went on until the Mexican-American War. At that time, unfortunately, Pio Pico had to flee the country because the U.S. Army was marching through this area to take California. But before he left, he gave what is now San Clemente to his favorite nephew and gave the name of Rancho Los Deshecos. For those of you who speak Spanish, that means leftover land that nobody's using. So, at the end of that war, he came back, but the Americans at that time put a commission to determine what Spanish and Mexican grants would be approved and honored. Well, the man who had this area didn't particularly want it. Matter of fact, he didn't know what to do with it. There was nothing here except a few stray cattle running around. And even the people, Pio Pico, didn't particularly like this area because the cattle would come over here and get caught in the canyons, or they'd fall off the cliffs, or they'd get lost in the brush. So that's why he gave it the name of Los Deshecos. That went on, and then eventually the government took possession of what we now know as Los Deshecos, or of San Clemente, the area of San Clemente. About 20 years later, a family by the name of Foresters were deeded all this land. A man named Marcus Forster, who's the son of John Forster, who became Juan Forster. In those days, you had to have land to be anybody. The more land you had, the more powerful you were. And Juan Forster, who had been came from Liverpool, and in the 1830s, he got his wealth the old-fashioned way. Hope you're not shooting at me. He got his wealth the old-fashioned way. He married into a land-rich family. And as a gift, he was given all of Mission Viejo. Just 100,000 acres, that's all. That's all he had. Yeah. But, well, that went on, and eventually he gave a lot of that land away. Most of the time, the land was transferred from family members, one member to another, basically. Then he had a young guy who came here and married one of his daughters, and so he gave him all of what we know as San Clemente, or Rancho de los Checos. Of course, that guy didn't know what to do with it either, but he went into a partnership with a couple of distillers by the name of Herman and Max Goldsmith, and who ran a distillery up in Los Angeles. And the partnership, they bought 110,000 acres, and they were going to raise cattle and grow crops and stuff. Well, none of that ever happened. The problem came in 1920s. Prohibition came, and the Goldsmiths fell on hard times because they were being put out of business. So they decided they had to sell the land. So they sold 4,000 acres, which was a good chunk of a rancho, to a man called Henry Hamilton Cotton. Yes, who made a syndicate of other bankers and investors to buy 4,000 acres of land for $7 million. Now, the only reason he bought it, he wanted to make his own horse ranch on the south end of it, which we call now San Mateo Point. The rest of it, he didn't know what to do with it. But that's where I came into the picture, Ole Hanson. At the time I was in Santa Barbara, I was building a large hotel called the Potter Hotel. And I had plans to make a Spanish village out of Santa Barbara. But a major earthquake destroyed Santa Barbara. And then I learned that Hamilton Cotton, who I'd done business with up in Los Angeles, had bought this big tract of land. So I immediately came down here and talked to him. And I was pretty good at convincing people to do things that I wanted them to do. I mean, as mayor, I got elected to mayor of Seattle. I settled the first major general strike after World War II. I addressed Congress. I did a lot of things. So I was able to convince him to allow me to build my dream, my Spanish village by the sea. Amen. So, and he told me, okay, I have to buy into the syndicate. So I went and borrowed a couple $1 million and bought 2,000 acres of the original Rancho Los Checos. And I started building houses on December 6 of 1925, in a rainy day like this, under a tent where now Hotel San Clemente stays. I invited the people down, promised them a chicken dinner, and by the way, the chicken dinner got them and the chicken dinner got you too, it looks like. But every time it's good. By the time the day was over, I had sold $125,000 worth of lots. Now, this will hurt you, but you could have bought a lot for $300 at that particular day. Within 2 years, I'd sold over $1 million worth of property. By 1928, we had 500 buildings here in San Clemente. My dream of building a Spanish village by the sea was coming true, and everything was going well until the Depression occurred. Unfortunately, we tried to get through it, but we couldn't. The Depression was too long, too deep. By 1932, the population of San Clemente had fallen to 250 people. I couldn't give a lot away. Couldn't even give one away. and eventually Bank of America decided to foreclose. So, by the way, this was called Ole's house. You call it house Romantica, but it was called Ole's house. But I had to sell this, and also I had to give all the deeds of all the property I had, because I had a lot of property and I was deep in debt, to the Bank of America, and they would cancel my debt. That's what I left. I did not go into bankruptcy, and I left San Clemente in 1933. Moved back up to my home in Los Angeles, and I was continuing to sell real estate right up until 1940, when I had a major heart attack and died at the age of 66. I wish I could have lived 5 or 6 years more, because after the war ended, San Clemente came back to life. It was vibrant again. I could have enjoyed it just as you are enjoying it today. Yeah. So I know a few of you came here, for the chicken dinner, but that's okay. I just wanted you to know a little bit about the history of San Clemente, and I hope you enjoy yourself tonight.
Thank you, Ole. So I've been told that the chicken dinner is ready. Oh, by the way, Ole, could you sign me up for 10 of those lots? But not on the bluff. What?
Just talk without it. Mike did it.
Was he?
There's something I want to bring up. When I started selling lots here, the deed said that you had to build a home with a red tile roof and white stucco walls. And I had an architectural review board, which I was the president of, and anybody who had anything different from that or built anything, I tore it down and rebuilt it. And I even have a plan right here that someone wants to give me. It has a flat roof, so it won't go beyond my architectural review board.
Thank you, Ole. We appreciate that. So I've been told that the chicken is ready, so it's going to be a little bit awkward, but what we've decided to do is let the... Can't hear me? Like that. All right. What we've decided to do is let the people who are standing go